"You're the worst husband ever," my wife said, with her friends lined up like judges. "We're here to teach you a lesson." I let them rant for hours, then replied, "I'll keep these in mind for my next relationship." That's when she realized that the lesson was hers. "Hey Reddit, figured I'd share one of the wildest things I've ever lived through. Thought I was coming home to a quiet Friday night, maybe dinner with my wife, but instead walked straight into something that felt more like a courtroom than a living room. What started as an intervention about my flaws turned into the biggest wake-up call of my life. It was a rainy Friday evening, and I, Jeremiah, 34 male, came home expecting the usual, maybe leftovers, maybe my wife Stephanie half watching some reality show while pretending to work on her laptop. Nothing crazy, just normal. Only this time, the moment I opened the door, I knew something was off. The couch was pushed against the wall, chairs lined up in a half circle like a low-budget courtroom. There was one empty chair right in the middle, perfectly centered like I was supposed to sit there and confess to something. Stephanie stood behind it, arms crossed, wearing that fake polite smile she uses when she's about to do something stupid, but thinks it's genius. Sitting in the chairs were her 4 best friends, Karen, Tiana, Lucy, and Sophia. I call them the Delulus. Long story short, none of them have had a relationship that lasted longer than a haircut. They're the type to post quotes like, "I'm healing my divine feminine energy," 3 days after getting dumped. The kind of women who give each other terrible advice and call it empowerment. Stephanie straightened up and said, "Jeremiah, we need to talk." That tone. You know the one women use when they've rehearsed something in front of a mirror? Yeah, that one. "We're doing an intervention," she added, voice shaking with fake confidence. "About how you've been treating me." I dropped my keys on the counter. "An intervention?" Karen jumped in like she was leading a group therapy session. "We just want to help you understand how your behavior has affected Stephanie." "Ah, so I'm the villain tonight," I said. "Cool. Let's see where this goes." Karen cleared her throat. "You're emotionally unavailable. You never prioritize Stephanie's needs." Tiana took her cue. "You make her feel unseen. You've stopped being romantic. You don't plan surprises anymore." Lucy, trying to sound soft and wise, added, "You've become distant. It's like you've given up on your marriage." And Sophia, of course Sophia, went for the dramatic kill. Honestly, we don't even know why she stayed this long. I looked around at the 4 of them like I'd accidentally walked into a bad improv class. "Are you guys serious right now?" Stephanie nodded like this was all very deep. "They're just being honest. You need to hear how I feel." "Oh, this should be fun." I sat in the empty chair, folded my arms, and leaned back. "Go on, Dr. Phil's angels. Enlighten me." Karen rolled her eyes. "This is exactly the problem. You think everything's a joke. I mean, it's hard not to laugh when a woman who got dumped by a guy named Kyle for cheating with his roommate is giving marriage advice." Her mouth dropped open. Tiana snapped, "You're deflecting. Coming from someone whose last boyfriend blocked her entire family because she kept showing up at his job?" I said. "I'm not sure I'm the one who needs interventions here." Sophia folded her arms. "You're proving our point. You're mean and dismissive." I laughed. "Sophia, your last date ghosted you after you asked if he'd cover your rent. Don't act like I'm the problem here." Their faces were priceless. Red, tense, offended. Stephanie tried to shush me. "Jeremiah, you're missing the point." "No, I think the point is that I'm being judged by a panel of people who can't keep a man long enough to split an appetizer." Karen slammed her hand on the armrest. "You can't even take responsibility." "Oh, I'm taking responsibility," I said. "I'm responsible for letting you all in my house in the first place." They started muttering to each other, whispering insults, trying to get under my skin. I just smiled, leaned back, and let them keep going. Stephanie's face lit up every time one of them attacked me, like she was feeding off it. After a solid hour of recycled TikTok-level psychology, I said, "You done?" Karen frowned. "Do you even care what we're saying?" "Oh, I care. This is going straight in the group chat with my friends later." Tiana huffed. "You're unbelievable." "Thank you," I said. Finally some honesty. They were all fuming now. Stephanie looked furious that I wasn't breaking down or begging her for forgiveness. She wanted a meltdown, not this. I stood up slowly, grabbed my jacket, and looked around the room. "Ladies, this has been enlightening. Thank you for the clarity." Stephanie blinked. "What does that mean?" "It means I'll work on those issues in my next relationship." The silence that followed was beautiful. You could hear the rain hitting the window and the collective sound of 4 jaws dropping. Karen's mouth opened like she wanted to say something, but nothing came out. Stephanie's fake smile vanished. "You're not serious." "Oh, I'm very serious." I glanced around the room one more time. "You guys can keep your little support group going. I'm out. I walked to the bedroom, grabbed my gym bag, tossed in some clothes, my laptop, and my charger. When I walked back through the living room, they were whispering frantically. Stephanie followed me to the door. Jeremiah, wait! I turned around. No. You wanted clarity. You got it. I stepped outside and I didn't feel angry. I just felt free. I started the car and drove to a small hotel in Fremont. I'd stayed at once for work, checked in, dropped my bag, and sat down on the edge of the bed. My phone buzzed nonstop. Calls, texts, voicemails, all ignored. For the first time in a long time, I smiled. If that intervention was supposed to break me, it just told me everything I needed to know. By the time I got to the hotel, my phone looked like it was having a seizure. 32 missed calls, 18 texts, and 2 voicemails from Stephanie doing her best impression of a victim. The Delulus were also in the mix, spamming me with, "You owe her a conversation," and "You're gaslighting her by leaving." Real inspiring stuff coming from 4 women who treat emotional stability like a part-time hobby. I tossed the phone face down on the table and opened my laptop. My brain was too wired to sleep, but sharp enough to start putting the pieces together. I wasn't angry, just curious now. There's a calm that comes when you stop pretending someone's honest. First stop, our joint credit card. I scrolled through months of statements, expecting the usual grocery runs and Target trips. Instead, I found expensive dinners at different expensive restaurants and a couple of weekday hotel charges too. Funny thing, those were all on nights she claimed to be with the girls. Right, movie nights must have gotten expensive. Then I checked the dates against my memory. September 20th, 28th, October 12th, 29th, all weekdays. All nights she said she was working late. Hotel stays on weekdays? With who? I opened our phone records. That's when the real pattern appeared. One number, constant, almost daily, texts, calls, and more texts. 147 times in 4 months. I didn't recognize it, but I didn't need long. One quick reverse lookup later, and there it was. Lucas Blake, age 33, Seattle. The name hit familiar. I remembered her mentioning a Lucas back when we first dated. Her college ex. The one who taught her what real connection feels like before breaking her heart. Yeah, that guy. I typed his name into Facebook. Profile picture of him at a bar, arm around some guy, trying too hard to look chill. Mutual friends popped up. Guess who? Karen, Tiana, Lucy, Sophia. Of course. The Delulus knew him from college too. That's how it started. I could see it already. Stephanie whining to them about how I don't make her feel special anymore. Them nodding like self-proclaimed therapists. Then saying something like, "You know, Lucas is single again. Maybe you should reach out. He used to really get you." They'd probably been poisoning her against me for months. Scrolling through her social media, I saw the trail. Old posts from years ago suddenly liked by Lucas. A few heart emojis. Subtle, but enough. Then newer comments. "So proud of you. Still as beautiful as ever." It was almost laughable. The guy hadn't changed since college. Same level of smooth as a wet napkin. I started documenting everything. Screenshots, dates, notes. I wasn't impulsive. I was methodical. My dad always said if you're calm, you'll win before the other person even realizes there's a fight. Within an hour, it looked like a financial crime scene. Over $1,500 spent in 4 months on dinners, hotels, and business trips. All patterns pointing to the same timeline. August to November. 4 months of lies. I added another tab for the phone logs. Same number. Same timeline. I even color-coded it. If I was going to burn this bridge, I was doing it with receipts. Halfway through, my phone buzzed again. Stephanie flashing on the screen. I let it ring. Then another call from Karen. Decline. A text popped up next from Stephanie. "Jeremiah, I don't understand why you're acting like this. We were just trying to help you." I replied, "You were very clear about what you wanted. I'm just giving it to you." I went back to my notes. The more I pieced together, the clearer it became. That intervention wasn't spontaneous. It was scripted. A setup. A way for her to feel justified about what she was doing. Make me look cold, distant, controlling, so she could cheat guilt-free. Make her friends believe she's the victim, so when the truth comes out, they defend her. It was almost smart. Almost. By 1 a.m., I had everything backed up on a flash drive, a cloud folder, and my phone. 3 copies. I wasn't about to lose proof to one of her "I didn't mean it" meltdowns later. But I wasn't done. If Stephanie thought she could rewrite the story, she underestimated how calm I can be when I'm done caring. I opened Google, typed "Seattle divorce attorney," and started scrolling through names. That's when I found Catherine Brennan, Family Law, Columbia Tower. 5 stars. Reviews said things like unshakable, strategic, calm under pressure. My kind of person. I filled out the contact form, uploaded a few of the files, and hit send. Consultation request booked for Monday morning. I sat back, shut the laptop, and finally exhaled. The rain outside hadn't stopped. It was steady, rhythmic, cleansing. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like the problem. I felt like the solution. Monday morning, I walked into Catherine Brennan's office like a man clocking in for business. Kate stood up from her desk when I walked in. Jeremiah Fortin? That's me, I said, shaking her hand. Firm grip, smart eyes, no nonsense. We sat down and I slid the folder across her desk. Bank statements, call logs, screenshots, photos, timelines. Everything. She opened it, scanning with quiet precision. You could tell she'd seen hundreds of cases, but this one caught her attention. After about 10 minutes, she looked up. You're more organized than most of my clients combined. I shrugged. Guess being accused of ruining someone's life gives you time to make charts. She smirked. Good. You'll like my style then? I don't do drama. I do clean wins. Kate laid out the plan. It'd be a no-fault filing, but she'd lead with misuse of marital funds and reputational harm to shape the settlement. That little intervention scene? Gold mine. Proof she'd tried to damage my character in front of witnesses while spending joint money on her affair. She said, "You'll need to avoid any emotional communication. Don't text her, don't call her, and definitely don't respond to her friends. You stay quiet, we'll do the talking." Done, I said. I've got nothing left to say to that group of geniuses anyway. Good, Kate replied. Let's make this clean. We'll serve her near work. Café Marlowe, right before lunch. It's public enough to make the point, private enough not to seem vindictive. I nodded. Perfect. I want clarity. Public and private. By Wednesday, she had the paperwork ready. I signed everything and left her office feeling oddly light. I thought that'd be the end of it. File, wait, move on. But of course, the Delulus couldn't mind their business. That same night, my notifications exploded. Karen had posted one of those cryptic quotes. When a man can't handle a strong woman, he calls her crazy. Tiana reposted it. Sophia added a story of her own. Never apologize for outgrowing someone. Lucy liked both and commented, Preach. Then came the DMS. You're disgusting for abandoning her when she needed you. Hope you're happy destroying a woman's confidence? Men like you should be exposed. I screenshotted every single one and sent them straight to Kate. She replied 2 minutes later, Perfect. Keep them coming. It helps. But the Delulus weren't satisfied with just online nonsense. No, they wanted real-life drama too. Friday evening, I was at my new apartment watching a movie when someone started banging on my door like they were collecting rent. I opened it to see some tall guy, maybe early 30s, muscles, shaved head, wearing that gym rat expression that screams insecurity. You Jeremiah? He asked. Depends, I said. Are you selling something or trying to get embarrassed tonight? He scowled. Karen sent me. Said you've been harassing her online. I almost laughed. Oh, she forgot to mention she's been cheating on you with her coworker at Moonlight Bar every Thursday night? That caught him. His jaw clenched. You're lying. Check her location history, I said. Or better, look at her Instagram. Tell me why she's tagged in posts near that bar every week while you're working late. He blinked, pulled out his phone, scrolled fast. Then his expression dropped. Yeah, I said, folding my arms. Now you get it. She sent you here thinking I'd swing first so she could play victim again. You deserve better, man. He nodded slowly, muttered something like, damn, then looked back up. Sorry, dude. I didn't know. All good, I said. Just remember who sent you. He walked away quietly. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Karen, screaming through the receiver. You had no right to tell him that. You ruined everything. I leaned back in my chair. You're welcome. Maybe next time keep my name out of your bad ideas. Then I hung up. By the weekend, the Delulus' group chat must have been melting because all of them unfollowed me on social media. Best news I'd had in weeks. On Monday morning, Kate called. Ready for phase 2? Born ready. Or she explained that the divorce papers would be served to Stephanie soon. Kate said, We'll serve her just before lunch. It's subtle but effective. I chuckled. So no cheering section this time. Exactly. That afternoon, I stopped by her office to sign one last form. Kate reviewed the final packet. My evidence, her affidavit, the financial timeline. It looked bulletproof. Before I left, she said, You're handling this better than most. I figured yelling wouldn't help, I said. Silence hurts more. She smiled. You're not wrong. Let's keep it that way. That night, I cooked myself dinner, opened my laptop, and saw Stephanie's last text sitting unopened since Friday. I saw it from notification preview. We can fix this if you just talk to me. I deleted it without opening. I leaned back in my chair and smiled. The game had officially changed. If the intervention was her opening act, this was mine. Saturday afternoon, I drove back to the townhouse to grab most of my stuff. The place looked the same from outside. Same flower pot, same doormat. But walking up the steps felt different. It wasn't home anymore. It was just a building full of lies and receipts. Before I could use my key, the door swung open. Stephanie stood there, eyes red, mascara smudged, holding a tissue like it was part of the performance. "Jeremiah," she breathed out. "Thank God. We need to talk." I stepped inside without answering. "I'm just here for my things." She followed me, voice cracking like she practiced it in front of the mirror. "I know how this looks, okay? I know I messed up, but you have to understand, my friends." I cut her off. "The Delulus?" She blinked. "Don't call them that." "Why not? That's what they are. Every time they've been dumped, they hold a therapy session with wine and zero self-awareness. I'm surprised you haven't started charging them rent for living in our relationship." Her lips trembled. "They pressured me, Jeremiah. They kept saying you were toxic, that you were controlling. I didn't know what to think anymore." I unzipped my duffel bag and started packing. "So what? They controlled you into cheating? That's creative." "I didn't cheat," she said quickly, too quickly. I opened the folder I'd brought and dropped it on the bed. Hotel bills, restaurant charges, screenshots of phone logs, all neatly printed and labeled. September 20th, Hotel Monaco. Day rate, $247. I flipped a page. September 28th, same hotel. October 12th, October 29th. That's 4 weekday visits, Steph. You were supposed to be at work. Her face drained of color. "That doesn't mean what you think it means." "Then explain it to me like I'm stupid." "Because I'm looking at hotel stays, restaurant dinners, and phone calls to the same number. 147 times in 3 months. She swallowed hard. "Whose number?" I looked straight at her. "Lucas Blake." That name hit her like a slap. She froze, trying to hide it, then forced a shaky laugh. "Lucas? From college? You're seriously digging that far back?" "Not that far. Just 4 months back. Right around the time you reconnected with him. Thanks to your brilliant support group." "I wasn't cheating," she said again, her voice rising. "It wasn't physical." I zipped my bag, calm as ever. "You don't spend $1,500 on dinners and hotels for something non-physical. Unless the man's a therapist who charges by the hour. And even then, I doubt therapy comes with wine and a suite." She started crying harder, stepping closer. "It wasn't like that. I just needed someone to talk to. You stopped paying attention to me, Jeremiah. You were always working, always distracted. I felt alone. So instead of talking to your husband, you talked to your ex," I said. "Makes total sense." She reached for my arm, desperate. "I didn't mean for any of this to happen. They told me you didn't care, that you'd already checked out. I thought that I was the bad guy, right?" I said. "That's why you had to stage a whole performance with your cheer squad. You wanted to humiliate me before I found out what you were doing. Get ahead of the story. Control the narrative." Her voice cracked. "No! It wasn't like that. I swear I didn't plan any of it to hurt you. I just wanted me to fight for you," I said, finishing her sentence. "Yeah, I know. I heard that line before. So let me ask, why would I fight for someone who spent 4 months fighting to hide her affair?" That stopped her. She covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. "I just wanted you to notice me again, to make me feel loved." I tilted my head. "You could have tried honesty. That usually works." She stepped closer again. "Please, we can fix this. I'll end it with him. I'll block his number. I'll go to therapy. Whatever it takes. We can start over." "Start over?" I said quietly. "We can't start over when the version of you I love doesn't exist anymore." She reached out, voice trembling. "Jeremiah, please. Don't do this. Don't walk away like I'm nothing." I picked up the last folder and slung my bag over my shoulder. "You're not nothing, Stephanie. You're just not who I thought you were." She tried again, desperate now. "Can't we at least talk? Just us? Without the lawyers?" I shook my head. "No, you had your stage. You had your audience. Now it's my turn to let professionals handle it. Everything goes through Kate from now on." Her face twisted in disbelief. "You already have a lawyer? You wanted a show, Steph." "I just changed the script," I said. She stepped back, breathing unevenly, still trying to hold her act together. "So, that's it? You're just going to leave?" I opened the door. "No, Steph. You left a long time ago. I'm just catching up." She didn't follow me this time. The sobbing stopped. Maybe she realized the performance wasn't working anymore. I walked out, duffel bag over my shoulder, and didn't look back. The air outside felt sharp but clean, the kind of air that burns for a second before it clears your head. By the time I got to my car, my phone buzzed with another text from her. "You're really doing this?" "Already did." I started the engine and drove off. No anger. No regret. Just quiet. If her intervention was supposed to make me beg, all it did was make me see what I'd been avoiding for months. She wasn't a partner. She was a performance I'd finally stopped applauding. The next few days felt like watching a movie I'd already seen, just quieter. Kate handled the legal stuff while I worked and packed the rest of my things. No chaos, no yelling, just a peaceful silence that used to be impossible when Stephanie was around. That peace didn't last long. On Thursday, around noon, Kate called. "She's been served." "Where?" I asked. "Cafe Marlowe, right in front of her friends." Perfect drop. I could picture it clearly. Stephanie mid-latte with the Delulus, probably bragging about how she wasn't worried. Then a process server walking up, saying her name, and handing her the envelope. She'd open it with her fake confidence, expecting some mild warning, only to realize it was the real deal. I didn't have to imagine her reaction for long. By the time I checked my phone later, the internet was buzzing. Stephanie had gone full social martyr. Her stories were stacked. "You can give your all and still be betrayed. I did everything right and still ended up the villain." Classic. The Delulus, of course, dove in to play backup singers. Karen commented, "He's always been cold." Tiana reposted a quote about men who emotionally abandon their wives. Sophia liked everything like her job depended on it. I didn't respond. I didn't post a thing. I just took screenshots. Every post, every comment, every hashtag, and sent them to Kate with a one-line message. For the file. Her reply came 5 minutes later. "Perfect. Keep doing nothing. Silence wins." By Saturday, things escalated. Stephanie tried to DM me directly. "You could have handled this privately. You could have been loyal privately," I replied. I broke the rule once with a single line, then blocked. Then, out of nowhere, I got a text from an unknown number. "You destroyed her life." I rolled my eyes. The Delulus again. I saved the number and ignored it. Later that night, a buddy from college called. "Hey, you remember that guy Lucas Blake?" I leaned back. "Yeah, the one my wife used to not cheat with?" "Yeah, well, word is, he blocked her. Full ghost. Apparently, he found out she was still married and bailed." I couldn't help but laugh. "So, the Prince of Emotional Connection turned into Casper." "Pretty much," he said. "She's been DMing him nonstop. Even made fake accounts to stalk his page. It's sad, dude." "Sad for her," I said. "For me, it's closure with free entertainment." The universe apparently wasn't done giving me gifts. Sunday morning, I got another message. This time from Lucy, the quietest of the Delulus. "Hey, Jeremiah." I wanted to talk. Not to fight, just to clear the air. Normally, I'd ignore it, but something about her tone seemed off. Maybe curiosity, maybe closure. Either way, I agreed to meet her at a park near the waterfront. When I got there, she was already waiting, looking nervous. "Thanks for meeting me," she said, hugging her jacket. "Don't thank me yet," I said, sitting down on the bench. "You said you wanted to talk." "Go ahead." She hesitated. "Look, I know things got out of hand. And honestly, I feel bad. We just believed her. She said you were verbally abusive, that you'd scream at her, control her money, isolate her. We thought we were helping. There it was. The lie she planted. I stayed calm. So, she told you I was some kind of controlling monster, and you just believed it?" Lucy's eyes dropped. She cried every time she talked about it. It sounded real. We thought we were protecting her. I pulled out my phone and said, "Mind if I record this? Just so I don't misquote you later." She nodded, so I hit record and kept my voice steady. "So, everything you said during that intervention, that was based on what Stephanie told you?" "Yes," she said quietly. "She made you sound awful. But after everything I've seen online lately, I'm not sure what's true anymore." I nodded slowly. "Now you know." Lucy looked up, regret written all over her face. "She needs help. She's not okay. I just wanted to apologize." "Apology accepted," I said. "But next time, verify before you volunteer to ruin someone's life." She nodded, stood up, and left without another word. I stopped the recording and immediately sent it to Kate. 10 minutes later, my phone rang. Kate's voice came through, crisp and calm. That recording might be the final nail in her case. False abuse claims, coordinated humiliation, financial infidelity. It's all consistent. "So, what's next?" I asked. We end this, she said. I'm scheduling a joint meeting. Stephanie, her lawyer, and her entire cheer squad. You'll want to be there. I smiled. Wouldn't miss it for the world. That night, I went back to the townhouse for the last time. The place was half empty now. My tools, books, and photos were already gone. I grabbed the last box from the garage. Old notebooks, cables, things I'd forgotten I owned. When I walked through the kitchen, I saw one of her candles still burning. I blew it out, let the smoke curl up, and took one last look around. No anger, no sadness, just relief. I locked the door behind me and stood in the driveway for a second, letting the cool air hit. It felt final, like closing a book after finishing the last page. When I got home, I shot Kate a text. Ready when you are. She replied instantly. Tomorrow, 3 p.m. They'll all be there. I set my phone down and looked out the window. For months, she'd been writing her version of the story. Tomorrow, I was going to give her an ending she didn't see coming. I went to bed thinking one thing. Tomorrow, they'll finally see who really caused all this. At 3 o'clock sharp, I walked into Kate Brennan's conference room for what she called a case conference. Stephanie and her lawyer came in first. Then her friends, who'd been invited as witnesses since they were part of the original intervention. They clearly thought they were here to defend her. They had no idea how bad it was about to get. Karen had her arms crossed. Tiana was whispering to Sophia, and Lucy wouldn't even look up. Kate waited until everyone sat. Thank you all for coming. I understand this is an uncomfortable situation, but it's necessary to resolve matters. Stephanie's lawyer nodded. My client just wants closure. Kate opened her folder and spoke in that even, professional tone that could make a hurricane sound like a weather report. We'll start with the financial documentation. These are joint account statements from the past 8 months. She slid copies across the table. You'll notice recurring charges for restaurants and hotels, all during times Mrs. Fortin claimed to be working late or out with friends. Karen frowned, glancing at the papers. These are just dinners, right? Kate pointed. $186 at El Gaucho, $247 at Hotel Monaco, $210 at Canlis. Same pattern, all midweek. Tiana shifted uncomfortably. We didn't go to those places. Stephanie snapped, Oh my God, stop acting like accountants. This isn't about receipts. Kate didn't flinch. Actually, it is. These charges were made with marital funds. Misuse of those funds is legally relevant. I sat back, silent, letting the storm brew. Stephanie suddenly straightened up, voice shaky but loud. He's only doing this because he's always hated my friends. He made me feel like I had to choose between them and him. Kate raised an eyebrow. Interesting defense. I finally spoke. I didn't hate your friends, Steph. I just didn't appreciate a group chat full of relationship advice from people who treat commitment like a seasonal hobby. Karen shot me a glare. You're unbelievable. I smiled. You're now single, right? That hit. Sophia choked out a laugh before pretending to cough. Stephanie glared at her. Ross tried to jump in. We're losing focus. Kate didn't stop him but kept flipping pages. We'll get back on focus soon enough. Next. Phone records. She pushed another set of papers forward. One number appears 147 times in 3 months. Belongs to Lucas Blake, Mrs. Fortin's college ex. Stephanie's face turned red. This is ridiculous. It wasn't like that. I finally looked at her. Then what was it, Steph? Business mentoring? Prayer sessions? Her hand slammed on the table. You don't get it. She pointed at her friends. They're the reason this happened. They told me to talk to him. They said you didn't care about me. Karen's jaw dropped. Excuse me? You did, Stephanie yelled. You all said I should see what else is out there. That maybe Lucas had changed. You encouraged me to reach out. Tiana shot up from her seat. We told you to think about what you wanted, not cheat on your husband. Oh, please, Stephanie barked. You were the one who sent me his Facebook profile in the first place. Lucy's eyes widened. Are you seriously blaming us right now? You're the one who lied about being miserable. I was miserable, Stephanie shouted, because you filled my head with garbage. You told me he was probably cheating first, that he was controlling. I believed you. The room exploded into yelling. Karen stood up too, finger pointed right at her. You begged us to help you make him jealous. Don't twist this. Stephanie screamed, You ruined my life. If it wasn't for you idiots, I'd still have my marriage. Tiana threw her hands up. Your marriage ended because you couldn't stop lying. Sophia jumped in. You're seriously delusional, Steph. We defended you. We humiliated that man for you. She pointed at me. And now you're turning on us? Stephanie was shaking now, voice cracking between sobs and rage. You all used me. You just liked having someone more miserable than you around. You wanted this to happen. Kate leaned over to me and whispered, "We might not need the rest of the meeting." I smirked. "I'm enjoying the show." The yelling continued. Karen calling her ungrateful. Tiana accusing her of being a manipulator. Sophia threatening to walk out. It was chaos. Then Karen snapped, "You know what? We're done. Don't call us. Don't text us." "You're crazy, Stephanie." Tiana nodded. "You're toxic. You blame everyone but yourself." Sophia grabbed her purse. "I can't believe we defended you." They started heading for the door. As they passed me, I gave them a small wave and said, "Thanks for coming, ladies." "Always a pleasure." Karen muttered, "You're such a jerk." "Yeah," I said, grinning, "but I'm a jerk with evidence." The door slammed behind them. Silence finally settled. Stephanie stood there, shaking, eyes darting between me, Kate, and her lawyer. Ross looked like he wanted to be anywhere else. Kate broke the quiet. "Well, that concludes witness credibility." She slid one last document across the table. "Sign the settlement agreement. Division of assets, restitution, and legal fees." Stephanie stared at the paper, then at me. "You really hate me that much?" I shook my head. "No, Steph. Hate takes effort. I'm just done playing along." Tears started falling. "You've destroyed everything." I stood, straightened my jacket. "No, you did that. I'm just making sure I don't go down with the ship." Ross asked for a short recess, and they stepped out with Stephanie for about 20 minutes. I sat there quietly while Kate organized the documents, calm as ever. When they came back, Stephanie's eyes were red, but her lawyer looked defeated. She sat down, picked up the pen, and signed without saying another word. Kate gathered the folder, stacked it neatly, and stood up. "We'll file these by morning." I turned to leave. Stephanie muttered behind me, voice breaking, "You think this makes you the hero?" Without looking back, I said, "No, just the one who stopped being your fool." And that was it. The end of the performance. The curtain finally fell, and for once I didn't stay to clap. 3 months later, the divorce was finalized. No court drama, no last-minute pleas, just paperwork, signatures, and silence. Kate texted me, "Congratulations. You're officially free." Free. That word hit differently when the weight was finally gone. I used part of the settlement money to buy a small condo near Green Lake. It wasn't fancy, but it was mine. I rebuilt slowly. Work picked up, I got promoted, and for the first time in years, I wasn't walking on eggshells. Even my coworkers noticed. My boss joked, "Whatever you did, keep doing it. You look 10 years younger." And then came the cherry on top, the Delulus imploding. It started with a notification. Karen's boyfriend Zach posted a long breakup story about how he'd been loyal to the wrong person. I didn't even need context. Tiana wasn't doing great either. Some coworker exposed her for gossiping about clients in a group chat, and her company let her go. Sophia tried to play peacemaker, posting a long, "We're all human and make mistakes" rant on Facebook that backfired immediately. People dragged her for being fake. Lucy? She deleted everything. Social media, photos, all of it. I scrolled through it all one night while eating takeout, grinning like I was watching Karma's highlight reel. Then I turned my phone off and got back to my movie. No gloating, no bitterness. Just satisfaction. Weeks turned into months. I didn't date anyone seriously. I didn't need to. I was enjoying the calm, my own space, my own schedule, my own peace. It was weird how good life felt when you stopped carrying someone else's drama. Then, one morning, around 6 months after the divorce, I ran into Stephanie. I was at Walmart, grabbing coffee and paper towels, when I saw her in the frozen food aisle. She looked smaller somehow. Hair dull, dark circles under her eyes. Hoodie too big. She froze when she saw me. "Jeremiah," she said softly, like saying my name hurt. "Stephanie." Awkward silence. You could hear the hum of the freezers between us. "You look good," she said. "Healthy." "Peace'll do that to you," I said. She gave a weak smile. "I've been meaning to reach out. I just didn't know how. I think the divorce papers handled that part." Her eyes watered. "I'm sorry. For everything. I lost everything after that day. My friends, the house, Lucas. He blocked me. My job's barely holding on. I know I don't deserve it, but I'd do anything for another chance. I still want a family with you. Kids. I want to make things right." I just looked at her. There was no anger left, no revenge thrill, no spark. Just a quiet kind of pity. "Stephanie," I said calmly, "you didn't lose everything. You lost the things you took for granted." She nodded slowly, wiping her eyes. "You're right. I ruined everything." "I hope you fix yourself," I said. "But that's your job now, not mine." She whispered, "Goodbye, Jeremiah." "Take care of yourself," I said. and walked away. I didn't look back. A year later, I went to a mutual friend's wedding. I almost skipped it, but curiosity won. When I got there, the music was good, the food was better, and for the first time in a long while, I felt like myself again. Halfway through the night, I noticed Stephanie sitting alone at a corner table. No Delulus, no date, just her and her glass of water. She spotted me talking to a woman from the groom's side. Someone funny, easy to talk to, no drama in her eyes. Stephanie's face said it all. When our eyes met, I gave her a polite nod. Nothing more. She tried to smile, but it faded before it even started. Later that night, as I walked to my car, I realized something. That intervention she staged to break me had actually rebuilt me. She tried to destroy my confidence, and all she did was hand it back to me. People always think power comes from fighting back. But the truth is, sometimes agreeing with someone who's trying to hurt you is the most powerful move you can make. If you enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. It really helps the channel and help us bring you more and better stories. Thanks.